The following podcast contains mature subject matter, adult themes, and may also contain profanity. You have been warned.
Hey everybody, hello and welcome back to The Absurd, podcast about things that are absurd, histories and mysteries, news and strange goings-on. Do some stories that are freaky and even funny, and sometimes frightening, not gonna lie. Sometimes they're scary, eh Mel?
Yeah, you get us scared, do you?
Sometimes I get scared.
Yeah, do you?
Don't you ever?
No.
Never in life?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
I'm scared about everything.
There you go, good. That's Mel, by the way.
It is.
Hi, Mel.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. You were at the office again today and you had a donut. That was a mini egg donut. I don't want to hear anything more about it because I'm very jealous.
It was just Tim Hortons, though, so don't get too excited.
No, it's not awesome.
No.
I mean,
it was pretty good
sure.
for
There's
Tim Hortons. But
really no bad donuts.
Well.
Unless they had, like, glass in them or something.
Wow. Definitely.
That I would not like.
Yeah. But no, it was good.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
Good.
Cool. So you had a good weekend. You went to your rave/bingo in Toronto Saturday night.
Two words that do not belong together, but
Hey,
yes.
There's no E in bingo, but there is in rave.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see.
Gotcha.
I see.
How was it? Was it cool?
It was the most ridiculously fun time.
Oh, okay. Good.
Like, I don't even know how to explain it to you, but we'd be starting to play a game of bingo, and few numbers in, the MC, who was outstanding, he'll all of a sudden go, dance party, and then just start playing music, and the cannons are going off, like the confetti cannons, not like real cannons, because that'd be really weird.
Yeah, I'm dangerous.
Yeah. And everyone had like the big glow sticks. It was ridiculous. And then if you won a prize, you don't just win the prize, you have to earn the prize.
I like it.
So you go up on stage, you'd have to do something ridiculous to get said prize.
Please tell me you or Heather won.
No, we did not. But like the prizes were a cardboard cutout of Britney Spears. A silicone dildo was another one. An air fryer.
That's a good gift.
A giant sloth stuffy.
Oh,
But there was a trip to Vegas, so there
Really?
was like a good prize out of all of that. But
and was it detention camp free, like for sure, if the trip to Vegas?
well, that's yeah. Actually, my boss is going to Vegas, not tomorrow, but the day after, so he's a little bit concerned.
They're actually suggesting people take burner phones.
Yes, we talked about that.
You know, it's weird. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Leave your regular phone at home and dig out your old flip phone to take.
Yep.
You know? That's scariness,
It's
man.
scary stuff, man. It hardly seems real, but
yeah, anyway, you had a good time.
But yeah,
And
it was a lot of fun. Everyone was into it. Like the demographic was,
predominantly
probably
women.
predominantly, yeah,
Yeah.
between the ages of like 30 and 50.
Yeah.
Some younger, some older, but everyone was into it. It was fun. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say you didn't factor yourself into that demographic.
Yeah, right. Shut up.
Thing. Cool. And you guys stayed over, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we
Nice.
stayed over right at Front and Spadina there, and
Yeah.
we went to Amsterdam Brewery for a
good.
couple beers.
Have a
and
3-speed? God,
I did
love that
not.
beer. That's
I didn't.
Great beer.
I had an Amsterdam Blonde,
Oh, it's a good one too.
and I got like the giant size.
Amsterdam Blonde. Oh, it was draft?
Yeah.
Even better. Well, how big is Giant?
I can't remember, but it was big. It was a
Yeah.
big old glass. I had to use 2 hands. It was so big.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good times.
Friday, I don't know. Well, I think I told you this. It was International Poutine Day.
Yes.
And my parents have never had poutine before, if you can even believe that.
No.
Way. Anyway, So I wasn't working Friday afternoon, so we did a bit of running around. Giant Tiger, you know you love it.
Uh-huh.
And groceries. And I said, okay, we're going to go to Johnny Fresco's, just up the street here, for poutine. Because I looked it up on the one Facebook group about food in the region, and it was predominantly the most preferred place.
Really?
Yep. Captain Canuck, is that what it's called? No.
Crazy Canuck.
Crazy Canuck is also good,
Yes.
too.
They have amazing poutine.
Yeah. So we went there, and I got just a regular burger and their classic poutine. They have a multitude of poutines, but I wanted to stay traditional, eh? So I got classic poutine. It's huge, and it's $8.99.
Amazing.
Amazing. Like I ate my burger and maybe a third of the poutine.
Wow.
My folks got a burger each poutine, but because they got 2 burgers, they get 2 sides, so they also got onion rings, which I tried, which were only amazing. Yeah, big shout out. But if you do go, get chicken gravy on your poutine.
Okay. As opposed to beef gravy?
Yeah, they have beef, chicken, or mushroom, I think.
Okay.
I like all of those. But even on the FB post, it said, get it with chicken gravy. So when the dude's like, what kind of gravy do you want? He's like, beef, chicken, or mushroom? I'm like, which one do you recommend? He goes, chicken's the best. I'm like, deal. And lastly, on that note, they were awesome staff. Super friendly. We were there like 5 and it was already busy.
Yeah.
It's a good
That's
place,
awesome.
man.
Did they like it, your parents?
Oh, yeah. Well, what's not to like about it?
Well,
right.
Fair enough.
I didn't get any grief from them, but I did online when I put ketchup on my poutine.
Well, as you should.
No, it's got to be.
Awful.
Nope. Completes it. Complete package. Yeah, Saturday out to Strikers.
Yep.
And they had Hazy Days again, thankfully.
Yep.
But you know why I like that beer a lot? I like the taste of it. But it's 6.5%. I don't need too many to carry a buzz on home.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yeah, watch Habs, or watch the Leafs destroy the Habs. Oh, they didn't destroy them, but they did beat them.
Right.
And yeah, that's it. That's it, dude.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. We found a really neat brunch place the next morning because we were, feeling it a little bit the next day.
No way.
And we saw a Tim Hortons outside. And as much as I actually despise Tim Hortons, we thought, well, let's just go get a breakfast sandwich or something. I'm like, I need substance.
Those breakfast sandwiches, I'm not going to lie, they're pretty okay.
The farmer's wrap or whatever it is, farmer sausage wrap.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Really good. Really, really good. I just hate their coffee. But anyways.
Yeah, I know it's true.
We walked outside and there was a really great restaurant. And of course, I'm going to forget the name now. But they had brunch and it was awesome. The staff was incredible. We ordered our food. It was out in less than 5 minutes.
Really?
Great coffee. Awesome place. Awesome.
What'd you have?
Canadian Eggs Benedict. And Heather had breakfast tacos.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah.
What was the name of the place again?
I can't remember.
Loser.
It and I don't know how to pronounce it. It was a different kind of name.
Claude's.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it?
No.
I made that up.
No. But it's right at front in Spadina. I can't.
You'll
anyways.
look it up.
Yeah.
You'll look it up during the show and you'll tell our listeners by the end.
Okay.
It's your assignment. It's your homework.
Yeah, okay.
It's not homework because you have to do it in class.
Yeah.
I've got some business stuff to announce.
Okay.
Just something real quick here. I don't know if you saw it, but we got an email from Diane and Eric in Halifax, Canada.
Yeah.
In Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
They were just saying how much they love the show, and they said if we ever come to Halifax to visit, they would show us around.
Awesome.
Hopefully they'd buy us a beer. We'd probably buy them a beer.
Yeah, probably.
You know. Hey, do you know what Scotia means?
What?
Scotland.
Okay.
So Nova Scotia means New Scotland.
All right.
Do you know what Scotland means? Dark land.
Oh.
So there.
Okay.
So it means new
dark
land.
land?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. What do you think of them
Not
apples?
to be confused with Newfoundland.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Uh-huh.
How come it's all one word?
What?
Newfoundland.
Because it's not pronounced Newfoundland.
But it's written that way. It's
Newfoundland.
phonetically. It's got a D in it.
You get, anyways.
Don't even. Yeah, so before we go into our stories, I'm not going to... I saw something that I thought was amusing, but it's not worthy of a whole story. Doesn't have enough material. It happened in Sweden just recently, and firefighters, local volunteer firefighters, were called to get a parrot down from a tree. Now, don't parrots fly?
Yeah.
Couldn't it fly down?
I would think.
So wouldn't it come down when it's ready to come down?
Well, unless it just flew away.
Yeah, but anyway. So they tried to get this parrot down, and I presume it did it in Swedish, and pardon my language, everyone, but the parrot kept saying, fuck you. To the people trying to rescue it, until the owner finally bribed it down with a package of cigarettes.
What?
Yeah,
a
dude.
package of cigarettes?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Well, apparently, Paulie likes the players. Eh?
Oh, gosh.
Anyway,
That's
so I
great.
just saw that. I thought that was mention worthy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right, so we might as well get into it.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So this first topic, it's my turn to start this week. I don't know if anybody ever noticed that. Would be we do alternate in who starts off. Yeah, so I don't think I mentioned this already. Right, so this topic, it pertains to a pretty heinous subject matter.
Okay.
Sadly, a not uncommon thing that happens. A crime, horrible crime. In my opinion, the second worst crime there is. And we are talking about rape. Okay?
Right.
A little preface, murder, in my opinion, is the worst because there's no coming back from it.
Right.
Right? No amount of therapy and treatment in the world is bringing you back from the dead.
Right. Right.
And that's the only reason I think it's the worst crime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like that worst is in most severe. But there are scenarios in which I might imagine myself being able to murder someone.
Right.
Like it wouldn't be over, money or stuff. But if they did something really despicable, kind of like what the subject matter here is,
Mm-hmm.
to someone I loved,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would. I'm not saying I would. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I'm just not saying for sure that I absolutely couldn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally get it.
Until you're in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the crime of rape, there is no justifiable reason for it,
Mm-hmm.
period, at all, ever.
Right.
Not a chance.
Right.
So that's why I think it, in some ways, it's worse than murder. It's more despicable
Right.
from beginning to end, full stop.
Yeah.
So you're right. So to that end, of course, there's been a lot of discussion throughout much of human history about how such action should be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like for murder, for example, we talk about capital punishment.
Right.
I don't have a big problem with it, except for the fact that police and judges and lawyers screw up.
Yep.
And
can get it wrong.
Innocent people have died in execution.
Yes.
Well, then everybody involved is guilty of murder and should therefore be executed as well.
Right.
So, besides which, too, let's say if I'm 30 years old and I get done for murder, and my choices are execution or spend the rest of my life in prison, yeah, I'm going to be scared shitless when it's execution day.
Yeah.
But I think I know which I would rather.
Yeah.
Well, spend the next 50 maybe more years in prison? That'd be pretty horrific, dude.
Yeah.
Horrific. Anyway, we're going to go back to 2010.
Okay.
Remember that year? Remember
Yeah.
what you did that year?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was like 20.
Sorry. 20 what? Yeah, sure you were. All right, so back in 2010, excuse me, this is in South Africa. South Africa has a very high crime rate.
Yes.
And including crimes of sexual assault.
Right.
So this is South African doctor Sonnet Ellers was on call one night 4 decades ago when a devastated rape victim walked in. Her eyes were lifeless. She was like a breathing corpse. She looked at me and said, "If only I had teeth down there." I'm pretty pleased there aren't. But, recalled this doctor, who was a 20-year-old medical researcher at the time. She said, "I promised I'd do something to help people like her one day." 40 years later, Rape Axe was born. That's A-X-E.
Okay.
Ellers is distributing the female condoms in the various South African cities where the World Cup soccer games are taking place. The woman inserts this latex condom like a tampon. Jagged rows of teeth-like hooks line its inside and attach onto a man's penis during penetration, Ellers said. Once it lodges, only a doctor can remove it. Once it lodges, only a doctor can remove it. A procedure Ellers hopes will be done with authorities on standby to make an arrest. It hurts. He cannot pee or walk when it's on, she said. If he tries to remove it, it will clasp even tighter. However, it doesn't break the skin, and there's no danger of fluid exposure. See, I won't lie. At first I was thinking, like, well, don't you kind of want to break the skin? Like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
But, right, the fluid, do you want some dude's blood?
No.
Right, especially in South Africa? No, man.
Yeah.
High
Definitely
AIDS
not.
rates. Ellers said she sold her house and car to launch the project, and she planned to distribute 30,000 free devices under supervision during the World Cup period. "I consulted engineers, gynecologists, and psychologists to help in the design and make sure it was safe," she said. After the trial period, they'll be available for about $2 a piece. She hopes the women will report back to her. The ideal situation would be for a woman to wear this when she's going out on some kind of blind date. I'm not really sure why it has to be a blind date. Or to an area she's not comfortable with. Well, that could be almost anywhere for women sometimes, right?
Well, yeah.
The mother of 2 daughters said she's visited prisons and talked to convicted rapists to find out whether such a device would have made them rethink their actions. Some said it would have, Ellers said. Critics say the female condom is not a long-term solution and makes women vulnerable to more violence from men trapped by the device. It's also a form of... I don't buy this, but anyway. It's also a form of enslavement, said Victoria Kaja, a fellow for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the East African country of Uganda. The fears surrounding the victim, the act of wearing the condom in anticipation of being assaulted, all represent enslavement that no woman should be subjected to. I think what they're saying is this is not a cure. Well, no, granted, it absolutely is not. But if it works as a defense mechanism, I don't really see their point there then.
Yeah.
Kaja said the device constantly reminds women of their vulnerability. It not only presents the victim with a false sense of security, but psychological trauma, she added. It also does not help with the psychological problems that manifest after assaults. Well, no
Well,
kidding.
of course.
So any solution must be a total solution, or it shouldn't be used.
Right,
It's kind of what she's saying.
But if, like, every woman had one, then at least men would be like, well, maybe not.
Well, it's baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Like she's, because medical science hasn't found a cure for everything, let's not have medical science anymore.
Right.
It's kind of akin to what she's saying. However, its one advantage is it allows justice to be served, she said. Various rights organizations that work in South Africa declined to comment, including Human Rights Watch and Care International. South Africa has one of the highest rape rates in the world, Human Rights Watch says on its website. A 2009 report by the nation's Medical Research Council found that 28% of men surveyed had raped a woman or girl, with 1 in 20 saying they had raped in the past year, according to Human Rights Watch. And you know that number is low. Because I'm surprised any of them would admit it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that none of that 28% lied about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you there's a lot more that did. In most African countries, rape convictions are not common. Affected women don't get immediate access to medical care, and DNA tests to provide evidence are unaffordable. Women and girls who experience these violations are denied justice, factors that contribute to the normalization of rape and violence in South African society, Human Rights Watch says. Women take drastic measures to prevent rape in South Africa, others said, with some wearing extra tight biker shorts and others inserting razor blades wrapped in sponges in their private parts. Critics have accused her of developing a medieval device to fight rape. Yes, my device may be medieval, but it's for a medieval deed that has been around for decades. Decades? Yeah, try millennia.
Yeah.
She said, I believe something's got to be done, and this will make some men rethink before they assault a woman. And that's kind of how I see it.
Yes.
Might the man result or react with violence? Yeah, quite possibly. Isn't he already doing that?
Yes, he is.
Right? So
Yeah.
could it escalate? Sure. But, so what? You do nothing?
Right.
Just lie back and acquiesce?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like I'm not telling anybody how to react. If you freeze, I'm not going to fault you.
Right.
I don't know.
And I think that seems to be what happens in situations like that. You just kind of have to let your mind go somewhere else.
You know what they actually say you should do?
What?
Shit yourself.
Shit yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, because it's going to make, nobody likes poop.
No.
Right?
No.
But they do
No.
actually, in fact, say that. Because it'll be, I don't know, somehow offensive.
Yeah.
As opposed to what you're actually doing to a person.
Right.
But, yeah. So, I don't have a problem with this.
Sure.
I don't
No,
care.
I don't have a problem
care.
with it either.
And it's it's medieval. And she's right. Well, so is what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever
helps to minimize the amount of, then I'm all there for it.
Well, you don't rape somebody because you're horny.
Mm-hmm.
It nothing to do with it. Rest assured, man, I've been pretty horny in my life. And not once have I ever thought, because it's not the same. That's not. How would you not want someone who's into it?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I have zero, but interestingly, most of the people on Reddit or wherever where I found this, most of the people who are opposed to it are
men.
Right.
Of course they are.
Weird, eh? Isn't that weird?
What a concept.
I know. Lots of guys were for it. Lots of guys are yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm down with.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, yeah, man.
I had to look up something while you were telling the story. There is
a
a movie I watched not that long ago because I was just scrolling through, and every now and again something really stupid will catch my eye, and just curiosity gets me. Mm-hmm. There's a movie called Teeth.
Oh, yeah, I know of it. I've never seen it, but I know of it. Yeah.
And she has teeth inside her,
Yeah, what are the vaginal detenta or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not real.
No.
But it is a term.
No.
On the belief, and some guys used to think that.
Yeah.
That'd
be cool, man. I'd love that.
I guess. Would you
That'd be a great trick.
What kind of trick?
Look
would
what I
you
can do.
Hey, who ate the last marshmallow?
Watch me eat this carrot.
Yeah. That movie was as much.
It was so bad. I couldn't even finish the movie.
But it was meant to be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Funny. Of course it was.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
And
but it made me think of that when you were talking about it. I'm like, oh, what was that movie?
And I think it's when she gets like anxious or angry. Or does it just happen?
Well, the first time she realizes it is she was being assaulted.
Okay.
And then this happened because she was on a date with this guy, and
Yeah, she's like a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was being assaulted, and that was the result of said assault.
Fair play.
Was she bit the whole thing off.
Wow, I'll teach you.
Absolutely.
Won't do that again.
I'm down for that too.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I have zip for sympathy. If you're committing that heinous a crime, because like I said, murder, if you come home and you find, I don't know, somebody you really love having sex with somebody else, and you kill both of them, nope, absolutely unjustified and wrong. You will be going to prison, as you should.
Right.
But that's a crime of passion.
Yeah.
Raping someone, there's never any, any cause.
No.
Reminds me of actually, you know who Norm Macdonald is? Mm-hmm. Was one of Canada's funniest comedians ever. Mm-hmm. It was a video of him riding with Jerry Seinfeld. And
I saw that.
Where I don't remember who they're talking about, but he said the worst thing about Bill Cosby was the hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I didn't agree with that. And Jerry's like, you didn't agree with hypocrisy? He goes, no, I thought the worst thing was the rapes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a horrible, despicable crime. So to hell with anybody, whatever they get from doing that. Okay. You got something for us.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Let's take that again. You got something for us. That was better. Okay.
Are you good now? You feel better? You got that out of your system?
No, still in there.
Okay.
What do you got?
All right, ready?
Yeah, man.
A woman in Australia unknowingly gave birth to a stranger's baby after she received another patient's embryo from her in vitro fertilization clinic due to human error, the clinic said.
Uh-huh.
This story, I don't like it. Because I had both of my kids through IVF.
In Australia?
Not in Australia.
Okay, good.
But, human error happens.
Well, yeah, pretty much on the daily.
It freaks me out. Anyways. The mix-up was discovered in February when the clinic in the city of Brisbane found that the birth parents had one too many embryos in storage, said the provider. Apparently you can have too many. Monash IVF, in a statement supplied Friday, staff discovered an embryo from another patient had been mistakenly thawed and transferred to the birth mother, a spokesperson said. Australia news outlets reported the baby was born in 2024. Monash IVF didn't confirm how old the child was. The company, one of Australia's biggest IVF providers, said an initial investigation had not uncovered any other such errors. Its statement didn't identify the patients involved or provide details about the child's custody. Yeah, because that's a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
If you have someone else's baby, it's actually not your baby. It's somebody else's baby. It's anyways, very confusing.
Yeah, well, right.
The human error was made despite strict laboratory safety protocols being in place, the statement said. The company said it had reported the episode to the relevant regulator and the state of Queensland. Monash IVF opened in 1971 and sees patients in dozens of locations throughout Australia. Last year, the firm settled a class action lawsuit for more than 700 patients, making no admission of liability after claims its clinics destroy potentially viable embryos. Can you imagine? I mean, I've lived this world, so I can only imagine you have embryos in a, deep freezer somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Right underneath the pork chop.
Yeah. Push the green peas aside.
Ew.
And they're like, we're just going to get rid of these.
But would they have been ones that, did they mean to get rid of them? Or, do embryos go bad? I don't know.
No, as far as I know. Burn? But they can't just dispose of them without contacting you and saying, hey.
Really?
Because when we had ours frozen, they give you a form that you have to fill out. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember if there's a limit on the years. So if anybody can correct me on it, please do. But we had to fill out a form that said, if we don't use them, do you want them to go to science, destroyed, or to another family? Because other people will purchase said embryos.
Right.
It was a very confusing, morally, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like difficult?
Yes. Yeah. It was hard to make a choice.
What did you choose, if I may ask?
I mean, we used them all.
All right.
We ended up using all of them.
So you have more kids somewhere that you don't?
No,
okay.
no kids in a freezer anywhere.
I'd give them the science for sure. But as long as they only made something like really evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that didn't happen.
I want you to combine this embryo with like a manatee.
Or
something. Yeah. That'd be cool. Manatees are awesome.
It's anyway. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Rare cases of embryo mix-ups have been reported before, including in the United States, Britain, Israel, and Europe. A woman in the U.S. state of Georgia in February filed a lawsuit against a fertility clinic after she gave birth to a stranger's baby. Christina Murray realized the error after her baby's birth because she and her sperm donor were both white and the child was black.
That's a telltale. Yeah.
Murray said she wanted to raise the baby, but voluntarily gave the 5-month-old to his biological parents after she was told she would not win a legal fight for his custody. In Australia, each state makes its own laws and rules governing the use of IVF, which advocates say that puts patients at risk in error of oversight failings. Queensland's parliament passed its first laws regulating the sector in 2024. The measures will establish a registry for all people conceived at a clinic and made the destruction of donors' medical histories illegal. The change followed an official report that the storage of frozen sperm donations in Queensland, finding nearly half of the samples checked were at medium or high risk of misidentification and recommending thousands be destroyed. I worried about this when we went through the whole process. I mean, you look at our kids, you can tell that they're ours.
Right.
But I was like, what if they make a mistake? What if they grab the wrong one? What if it got mislabeled, dropped it on the floor? I don't know.
Like the embryo dropped on the floor, you mean?
Yeah. All the embryos fell on the floor. They had to pick them all up and separate them.
The dresser.
Yeah, put them through the colander, rinse them off.
Gross.
But yeah, the thought of that one lady there giving birth to someone else's baby, a black baby, I'd be like,
yeah, that's pretty sure it's not mine.
The husband's like, do we need to have a talk?
Yeah. But that's, so it's interesting. So, I mean, obviously that embryo was from a black woman. But it was the white woman that carried it to term.
Yes.
So, like, I think the right decision was made, and that baby should go
It
back
was,
to
yes.
But it would be weird.
Not an easy decision, but yes.
Well, but I was even thinking, like, carrying a child's a whole hell of a lot more difficult than making an embryo. I mean, I can't do either.
Right.
But, you know, you guys chuck out embryos every, 4 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I have to imagine carrying a child to term and giving birth is a whole lot more effort.
Mm-hmm.
So, whose property is it?
I mean, they're still fertilized. Like, they're fertilized eggs.
No, I mean, that would be the deciding factor.
Right.
I mean, but this one's easy.
Yes.
They were both white and the baby was black. Well, there's really no other way around that.
No.
Right? But, if you were both white blonde and the baby you gave birth to happened to be white blonde, you might not know.
You would never know.
Yeah, that's right. You might never know.
Right.
But, of course...
oh, man, I can't even. Because, obviously I've had babies.
Yeah.
And you have a connection to that baby as you're growing it.
Of course.
Like, even though it may not have your
DNA,
right. It's still, I don't know, you still, like, grew this baby. Mm-hmm. That's toughy.
Sure.
I know it's not hers, technically. Well, it's not. But, yeah, that's...
But I guess that's what I'm coming down to. Not whose property is it. Isn't it hers? I mean, if, I'm playing devil's advocate here. But, I mean, she nurtured it. Not nurtured, but she nourished it. Right? Literally. It would not have existed without her.
Right.
I still maintain that, the biological parents should get the child. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But So I don't mean it as a question of property, but more of a philosophical point of whose is it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I think about it on the other side, too. Like, if I found out that somebody else just grew my baby, I'm like, no, that's mine.
Right.
Like,
Give me
mistake
back
or
my
not.
baby.
Yeah, give me back my baby.
This is like last week again with remember I said about how like in the future you'll be able to grow your own baby at home, like a toy, like baby.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of problems with that. Do you remember to feed your baby? Oh no.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah. Well, we've been gone. No, I can't do that. That's gonna get a hug. That's gonna go downhill again.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. But so they yeah, what did it say? Like there was 700 cases where they screwed up. But how many women did they, fertilize?
Right.
Is that the right word?
Impregnate.
That's better.
Inseminate.
Because I mean, a business like that, if word gets out that you're screwing up, you're done.
You are done.
So it's obviously in their best interest to do it right. Right. But like you said at the very beginning, human error, man.
Happens.
Like it's weird how this seems like a tangent, and because it is, but how many people are like absolutely shocked at the notion of autonomous cars? Right? They're like, oh yeah, how safe is that going to be? Man, every accident, well, not every, but damn few are caused by mechanical failure anymore.
Yeah.
They're all human error.
All human error, yep.
And if a device, I mean, when you've ever flown in an airplane, well, the pilot isn't sitting there for 8 hours with his hands on the steering wheel. It's being flown automatically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I get it.
Human error is a problem in most everything, yeah. Well, we're going to stay in the realm of medical stuff.
Okay.
And sort of related to what you were just talking about.
Okay.
Y'all ready for this? We're going back to 2006. Remember 2006?
Yes.
You were what, 9?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure you were. August 23rd, 2006. Sanju Bhagat's stomach was once so swollen he looked 9 months pregnant and could barely breathe.
Oh, boy.
Living in the city of Nagpur, India, Bhagat said he'd felt so self-conscious his whole life about his big belly. I like those words, big belly.
Big belly.
But one night in June 1999, his problem erupted into something much larger than cosmetic worry. You should see this dude, too. Even as a kid, his big belly.
Yeah?
Yeah, you wait, dude. An ambulance rushed the then 36-year-old farmer to the hospital. Doctors thought he might have a giant tumor, so they decided to operate and remove the source of the bulge in his belly. Basically, the tumor was so big that it was pressing on his diaphragm, and that's why he was very breathless, said Dr. Ajay Mehta of Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. Because of the sheer size of the tumor, it makes it difficult to operate on. We anticipated a lot of problems. Dr. Mehta said that he can usually spot a tumor just after he begins an operation. But while operating on Bhagat, Mehta saw something he had never encountered. As he cut deeper into Bhagat's stomach, gallons of fluid spilled out, and then something extraordinary happened. To my surprise and horror, I could shake hands with somebody inside.
What?
He said, it was a bit shocking for me. One doctor recalled the day in the operating room. He just put his hand inside, and he said there are lots of bones inside, she said. First one limb came out, then another limb came out, then some part of genitalia, then some part of hair, some limbs, jaws, limbs, hair. Inside Bhagat's stomach was a strange, half-formed creature that had feet and hands that were very developed. Its fingernails were quite long. We were horrified. We were confused and amazed, Mehta said. At first glance, it may look as if Bhagat had given birth. actually made ahead removed the mutated body of Baguette's twin brother from his stomach.
Oh my goodness.
Baguette, they discovered, had one of the world's most bizarre medical conditions, fetus in fetu. It's F-E-T-U.
Okay.
It is an extremely rare abnormality that occurs when a fetus gets trapped inside its twin. The trapped fetus can survive as a parasite even past birth by forming an umbilical cord-like structure that leaches its twin's blood supply until it grows so large that it starts to harm the host, at which point doctors usually intervene. According to Meta, there are fewer than 90 cases of fetus in fetu recorded in medical literature. Fetus in fetu happens very early in a twin pregnancy, when one fetus wraps around and envelops the other. The dominant fetus grows, while the fetus that would have been its twin lives on throughout the pregnancy, feeding off its host twin like a kind of parasite. Usually, both twins die before birth from the strain of sharing a placenta. Sometimes, however, as in Baguette's case, the host twin survives and is delivered. What makes his case so unusual is that no one suspected Baguette had a twin inside him for 36 years. Baguette said he was very much relieved after his operation. I'll bet.
Yeah.
He was not interested in knowing what Mata did to him or seeing what he had removed from his abdomen. No. Yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to know that.
No, ignorance is bliss, man. He didn't want to see it because it was looking very ghastly, Mita said. That's a good word. There was no placenta inside Baguette. The enveloped parasitic twin had connected directly to Baguette's blood supply. Right after the surgery, Baguette's pain and inability to breathe disappeared, and he recovered immediately. The case may have been a medical miracle to doctors, but to Baguette, his condition had been a source of shame and misery. All his life, people in the village where he lived had mercilessly teased him and told him he looked pregnant. Ironically, they were right in a way.
Kind of right.
Go back and give them an ass kicking. Today, Baguette is in good health and leads a normal life, but he still gets teased occasionally. They still ridicule him. What they say is, you went for an operation and you had the baby, Meta said. Who cares? Small-minded dopes. You should have kept the twin.
Or chase them with it.
Yeah, damn right. Put it on like strings like a marionette. It ain't dead. But how messed up. And I'll show you the pictures and like.
Yeah.
That's him as a kid on the right. So yeah, that's him.
Wow.
Oh, I know. Like how old he is as a kid.
It doesn't even look real, especially the kid one.
I know. He looks like, I mean, maybe he's like, 7, 8, maybe.
Goodness gracious.
And it's like, God, man, even in my heaviest beer drinking days, I wasn't pushing out front like that.
No.
But, yeah, man, that's twisted. So that thing was alive.
Yeah.
In him for 36 years.
Ugh, that's creepy.
I wonder if you ever heard voices.
Hey, I'm in here.
Hey, let me out. Who turned the lights off?
Give me some chips, damn it.
Sorry, it's all right. You say chips?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. You got a story for us.
Yeah.
Do you have a story for us, Mel?
I got a story.
Ooh, Mel has a story.
This is also about, like, bones and stuff.
I like bones. I use them all the time. Pretty much every day, I think. Oh, my God, excuse me.
Them bones, them dry bones. What the heck was that from?
I have no idea what you just said.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I think it was an old show, an old cartoon.
No way.
Them bones, them dry bones. I'm picturing skeletons.
You start doing your...
Yeah, okay.
You start doing your tail.
You're looking it up?
Look it up for you.
Okay.
Just to shut you up. No, just kidding.
Central Florida, a woman was arrested for selling human bones in her knick-knack store, police say. Kimberly Shopper, 52, faces charges of trading in human tissue.
Her last name is Shopper?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I know.
Huh.
It could be Shoper, but
Yeah,
I'm
let's
going to
go
say
with
shopper.
Yeah, I like it
Shopper
better.
sounds more fun. The Deltona woman was placed in handcuffs after an officer found human bones among her other wares at the Orange City Knick-Knack store, according to the police department. In an affidavit, police said they received a complaint just days before Christmas in 2023 about the store. It was dubbed Wicked Wonderland, trying to sell those bones. According to police, the store had reportedly been advertising various human bones on its Facebook page, complete with pricing details.
Huh.
Investigators said they found the following human remains for sale on the store's website. 2 human skull fragments for $90. A human clavicle and scapula, $90. A human rib, $35. A human vertebrae, $35. And a partial human skull for $600.
Whoa.
Afterward, an officer went to the store and spoke with one of its owners, who stated that the business had been selling human bones for years and was unaware it was illegal to do so in Florida.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's illegal everywhere, isn't
Well,
it?
I don't know. I have some questions.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I'm going to
Okay.
wait for you to get to the end because I don't want to preempt you.
She confirmed that the store had multiple human bone fragments, all purchased from private sellers, and mentioned she had documentation for these transactions, but could not provide it at the moment. She described the bones as genuine human remains and delicate in nature. The owner allowed police to collect the human remains as evidence, and she and the other store owner, identified as Kimberly Shopper, met later with investigators to discuss what was going on. Per investigators, Shopper claimed that the bones were educational models, which would protect their sale under state law. Shopper and the other owner then became upset when they were unable to recover the collected human bones or obtain a copy of the original police report. They were informed that the human bones were currently being held as evidence in a case and would not be released to them at this time. In the year to follow, several of the bones were examined by experts who found the following. The confiscated cranium belonged to an adult man and was likely an archaeological find. One skull fragment came from the right cranial bone and was likely an archaeological find. The cervical vertebrae may have been part of an anatomical model due to its condition and uniform brown coloration. A sample taken from one of the bones revealed it could have been over 100 years old. Another bone sample suggested an age of over 500 years.
Oh, wow.
Shopper, who was listed as the store's primary owner, was ultimately arrested and now faces charges of trading in human tissue. She was released the following Friday morning on a bond of $7,500. So, yeah, you should get on to selling some human bones, apparently.
I don't understand the problem.
Of selling human bones?
Well, I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to buy them, obviously.
Well, that's, yes.
But I don't have to understand something in order to tolerate it.
Right.
You know, like, if these bones had been acquired nefariously, you know.
Well, that's the question I was having.
Yeah, but if they're archaeological finds,
right.
What's the issue?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like she's trading, like, I don't know, here's your gallon of semen, you know, because it said human tissues.
Right,
like,
right.
You're trying to sell somebody's kidney.
Right.
That, I object to that.
Sure.
But if these are bones from, 100 years old, one of them was from a bloody display thing.
Mm-hmm.
Really? This is the best use of your time, is it, officers and force?
Apparently, I guess they got to check it, right, to make sure it isn't from
Sure. I'm
Joe
okay
down
with
the
that.
street who killed Sam. And
100%. But now that that's been determined,
yeah,
all right, you did your part.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Good. Everybody's happy. Nobody's been murdered for the sake of these. Fine. Let's all go home and have cake.
And have cake.
Yeah, I like cake.
Do you?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there you go. Can't say I've ever been in a store that was selling bones
That you know of.
that I know of.
Right. Maybe you have.
Maybe
There was a whole, like, underground organ selling thing going on in some store you're in.
Maybe.
Do you know you can, like, lose 75% of your liver and it'll grow back?
And it will grow back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll regenerate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're out there, like raking the lawn and doing marathons while it's happening. I imagine you're pretty tired.
Right. Yes.
There's a black market for organs.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Except urban myth time. Have you ever heard the story about, some dude waking up in a hotel in a bathtub of ice and his kidneys gone?
Yeah.
Never happened.
Yeah.
That's a 100% urban legend.
Right, yeah.
Law and Order even did one on that.
Who did?
The show Law and Order.
Oh.
Like the original.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. I think it was in one of actually Urban Legend. There was a movie. I think they did a couple of them. A couple movies, Urban Legend. And like Final Destination kind of style.
Yeah. Well, there's a TV show also called Urban Legends. It was a Canadian show.
Mm-hmm.
And just before I went to commercials, they would like tell you a story and be like, okay, you had 3 choices.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that actually.
It was a great show.
Yeah, I remember that.
I should look to see if it's on like Tubi or something.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Cool.
So, all right. So she got a $7,500 bail, which for sure she's going to make.
Sure. Go back to
she's not going to go to prison.
Selling brains.
Not brains. Brains. Like a zombie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love zombie movies.
Do you?
Don't you?
Yeah.
You ever seen Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, because there's 2. There's the black and white original, and then there was a remake in the 90s or 80s. I was also damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Except the woman in the remake, she became badass.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't just sit there and cry, because women do that when they get scared. They just sit there and cry.
Yes, that's what we all do. Just sit there and cry.
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah, because that sounds like me.
I'm kidding. But it's a great movie. But it has a great line that I've used on people, like when they're out in the cemetery at the beginning, they're looking at their mother's gravestone,
mm-hmm.
and there's some dude across the grass, like walking around. We don't know yet that he's a zombie, but he's a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
And her brother, who's kind of a dick, he goes, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." Well,
yeah, they were.
They were, and they are. Run and hide. So that's no bones about it in that one.
No bones about it.
Doggy. Good one. Good stories.
Yeah. There we go.
So that's it for our stories for today.
Yes, eh?
You got something you want to say to our lovely people.
Yes.
Say it. Say it.
You guys should go listen to us.
Well, they already do. They wouldn't be here.
Check out our website at theabsurdpodcast.ca,
mm-hmm.
and you can find our links for Facebook, Instagram, socials, and some of our links to where we're streaming.
Heck yeah.
I mean, you probably already know that, like you said, if you're listening to us, but
I hope so.
Yeah, you can
and
share it.
If this is your first time listening, hey, big, fat, huge welcome.
Big, fat, huge welcome. Yes.
And I would like to add, too, please do share with us. Share us with your friends. It sounds kind of weird.
Share us?
Share
with us? Share us.
Quiet. Silence. Oh, good, the snort.
I think what he's trying to say is share it with a friend.
I think what I'm trying to say
and give us 5 stars.
Yes, you should give us 5 stars and share with your friends and family. Tell them about us. I still didn't know how to work my way through that sentence. So that's why I changed it.
Yeah.
But no, we would appreciate that.
Yes, we would. Very much.
I had a friend of mine send me a very bizarre trend that is now going around South Korea.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do it next week, so I'm not going to give him a shout out until then.
Okay.
But it's weird. You'll like it.
All right.
You'll like it a lot.
I better.
You will. I'm not going to...
I'll be mad.
Ooh, dogs get mad. People get angry.
Yeah, well, look out.
Okay. Dire Mel. Well, thank you, everyone, for stopping by and listening today. We very much appreciate it. And we hope you have a safe and happy week. So...
Happy Easter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, never mind. So take good care of yourselves and each other.
Bye. Oh, I hit my face.
Good. Bye.
Bye.
Absurd podcast is written, produced, and recorded by Rod and Mel. Music by Audionautics.com.